Okay. I know this title is scary, but I will go over a few disclaimers before I go ahead and actually get to my main points. Number one, or first being, that this has been a thought or kind of blot forming in my head for the past 4 years. And I've been playing Daybreak since Daybreak 1, when Yvonne and Elizabeth first released. Yvonne is actually the main reason why I'm even still playing this game in the first place, because I appreciated that black rep, even though her story was kind of but that's not the point. Which means at this point in time, I played Daybreak 1 when I was about 15 to 16. I vividly remember because I first played the game April 9th, 2022, was it? 2022. So, and my birthday's in February, so I would have been 15 at the time. Number two, the comments that I make are directed only to the fandom and parts of the community. This is not directed towards developers. Developers have nothing to do with this. So don't assume that I'm attacking them. I also want to mention that when I mention fandom and community, I'm not using them interchangeably, necessarily. The fandom is part of the community, but the community isn't necessarily the fandom, if you get that parallel. Number three, this does not mean I hate the entire Daybreak community. I will say it time and time again, y'all really do show up the game during the updates and us as CCs, so I will appreciate that eternally, because I wouldn't be at 2.15k, I believe, without y'all. Now, for my main points, aka grievances. The first point I want to make is the cyberbullying and hostility problem. When I first played Daybreak, keep in mind, I didn't even know how to drive yet, or I was learning how to drive. I like to use that as a perspective to understand that I don't have the type of semi-wisdom I do now. And I didn't have the ability to articulate the way I am now, especially since I was going through a lot emotionally, mentally, and obviously I was a teenager, so I was going through both hormonal and psychological changes and just trying to understand how I'm moving through life. I was also coming out of a breakup at this time, so when I joined the Daybreak server, unfortunately, that's when I became friends with Mr. Pinocchio, aka Persistence. God forbid. Oh my god. Oh, it makes me want to vomit in my mouth. But when I was in the Daybreak server, I remember frequently, and this is before I went read only, so obviously you can't find these things anymore, cyberbullied frequently. And it's not even just me. It was even in reports and things like that, stemming all the way back from 2021, 2022, of people just arguing with each other all the time and being messy all the time. And if you go into games and stuff like that, especially when you're with really competitive people, and keep in mind, I'm also fairly competitive, but it's typically always the people who feel very strongly about a certain character or characters that will just be really mean to you for absolutely no reason with false justifications. And when I mean this with the cyberbullying, I strongly mean it as well to the new players. I know everybody jokes about new gens a lot. I know people can get frustrated with new gens. I know I get frustrated with new players too, but I'm not frustrated necessarily at the player. When I get frustrated with Daybreak, it's one of two things: performance or lack of teamwork. My frustration stems from a branch off of one of those two things, not necessarily the player. My frustration for a player fully will only come from the words and actions of the person who is playing, via the things they say in chat or their treatment of other people and or concepts related to gameplay. New players, especially now, have been treated with so much disrespect. It's actually pathetic to me. Honestly, I'm just going to be completely honest. It's pathetic. And it shows the lack of immaturity for some people. Like I said, this doesn't apply to everyone, but a good majority of people, it shows the closed-mindedness, lack of patience, and immaturity. And I will close that for now because I'll keep ranting forever if I don't. Number 2, I'm probably going to have to censor it, the child endangerment problem. If you do not know, within this week, there had been something that came up on the topic of a Daybreak news / fandom server or whatnot. I was never in it. I never planned to be in it. Called Daybreak Solstice, that recently got shut down due to the exposure of a griever and those who were complicit or thought to be complicit with said griever. Now, while this is jarring, and probably the first time, or one of the first times for real, that something of this topic has become very loud within the Daybreak community, and especially the Daybreak fandom, it is not the first. This one is slightly unrelated, but I only bring him up, that should be your keyword, is him, due to what I thought I had a connection with him back again when I was 15, 16, all the way up until I had to block him on everything the day after I turned 19, February 4th, 2026, I remember it vividly. Persistence. Saying weird stuff to people who were not 18 at the time, faking his death and sending it to a fucking 14-year-old who I was trying to comfort at the time while sitting in my dorm, my roommate sitting there doing whatever she's doing, me getting annoyed with her, whatever. Off topic. And this child is trying not to lose her mind because we are thinking we need to save a human life. I even gave my own phone number for this man, just to find out the threats and all of that stuff. Now, keep in mind, when that document about persistence came out, and an extension of it was done by the Bloodsport community, y'all are the goats, by the way, shout out to y'all. I wasn't in there because I briefly stopped talking to a friend of mine who I am close with again now. But I will say this for those who were curious of me at the time and were trying to think of my thoughts or how I was feeling or assume that I was on his side, which fuck no, I'm not. Fuck that bitch. I hate him. I'm not even going to be nice about it. I never said this, but when I didn't know the guy until I cut off contact with him completely, he called me various racial slurs when I was the only black person in the VC. Him and his second ex, not the current one, but the one before that, would constantly call me the hard R, Blackie, would send me suggestive shit while I was still a minor, and just, at the time I ignored it because I was coming out of a weird place where, like, I'm not gonna lie, already had trust issues. I have even more of them. And I had this ongoing thing happen where I would always end up falling out of a friend group, and I was just really passionate about having friends at the time. So honestly, I fawned. I don't even care. I just fawn. I just try to keep cruising. I tried to ignore it. But then it would happen to my other black friends too, and I would just get pissed off. He would say that stuff all the time. Now, going back to Daybreak itself, Marzi and Persistence aren't the only ones. I vividly remember before Daybreak 1 went completely read-only and reports went to Google Forms, where there would just be people sending stuff being like, this person is a for because of YouTube stuff, Drake. Or this person is saying, I hope you get blank. Let's just say grape juice. Trigger warning. And all that other stuff. And it's just like, people in the Daybreak community and fandom fail to understand that a vast majority of these players are under the age of 17, if not even 16. There are so many Daybreak players I have played with over the past 4 years, just randoms in servers. 12, 13, 14, 15. They don't even know how to drive yet. They've never taken a damn driver's test. They haven't even taken an SAT. For Christ's sake. And yet we still have these people walking around in these servers and these games who are actively endangering these children, and people are doing nothing about it. It pisses me off to my core that we as grown adults are not doing anything to help shield and protect these fucking children. Everybody needs to do better. don't care if you're 18, 19, 20, 21. I don't even care if you're 17. If you are bad, like turning an eye away from these issues, and you are being complicit to these actions when you visibly see them and are not reporting them, you are part of the problem. I don't give a fuck. You're part of the problem. We as a community need to do better about reporting when things happen and protecting these fucking children, because the amount of victims from people in this game, including myself, aka fucking persistence, is ridiculous. I've had friends of mine, like Chaotic, who was nearly a victim of Marcy. No, granted, she was being told the thing she was doing was weird, but we didn't know anything about Solstice at the time. Nobody really knew about Solstice, so it wasn't anything about that, but just we as a community need to be more, need to have more emphasis on helping each other, because the hostility and cyberbullying and the lack of cooperation from parts of the community, and specifically the fandom can sometimes be incredibly outrageous, is nonsense to me. I went on about that one for a very long time, so these ones are going to be a little bit shorter. I want to talk about something new that's come up recently, which is the leaks. I'm the type of person where I stay away from leaks as much as possible. Like when the Amazing Digital Circus episode 9 got leaked, I stayed away from anything Digital Circus related for a hot minute, but it's the fact that people have the nerve to leak upcoming stuff for a game that isn't really that popular, which I'll get to the not wanting to be popular thing in a hot minute. And it's just like, I don't understand the point of that. Like, number one, Brenda's the only coder. And like the testers, the balancers, and everything and the artists who are willing enough to volunteer into adding more things and helping develop the game, for you to just leak it? I've never understood leaks. Don't ever send me them. I would just recommend staying away from them, because I would not, because when you view and talk about those leaks, it encourages them to get more, and having that mold just adds more stress to the actual developers. So I would just say avoid that altogether. Like I am. Just, again, be mentally aware. Now, this is a more vague one, but I'll touch on it a little more, which is the lack of social awareness. Again, when it comes to serious issues like the child endangerment, or the cyberbullying, or like the hostility, a lot of people I find just bat an eye to it. Now, again, since most of the freaking people in Daybreak are minors, it's to be expected, because they don't have that type of conscious necessarily, or full conscious to understand certain, for lack of better terms, cues. But when it comes to the side of adults, and this leads into the cyberbullying, whatever, it makes no sense to me. It just doesn't. Like, how can I explain it? I had something in my head and then it left me. It's like, try describing the concept of cooperation to a caveman, and then asking them to replicate that type of sympathy or empathy. Or for lack of better terms, try describing a cat to someone who's never seen it and asking them to draw it. I know you might be thinking I'm joking, but like, let me speak here. I feel like as a community, there is not enough emphasis on reporting things and calling out things when they happen. Going back to my biggest issue when it comes to the child endangerment, usually we hear about this stuff weeks, days to weeks to even months after it already happened. Why is that? Why are we waiting so long to say these things? Especially in the age of the internet as it is right now, with all of these faux call-out docs trying to make people look bad. To even pre-surface back to point 2, Do y'all remember when Daybreak randomly had servers shut down and the game went from like, what was it, 9 plus rating on the Roblox questionnaire to 18 plus? Like not even 60 plus, it just went to 18 plus because they had to remove the blood. Daybreak went from 400 to 500 concurrent players to 128. 128. You want to know who those 128 people were? Me, a few CCs, and just adults. So imagine if we were at the highest Daybreak ever was before, which was a Top Dog update and the Star Eater update. They had around 900 or so, I'm just rounding it up to 900, concurrent players. The amount of frequently playing adults who would be in that 900 is probably only 300. You see where I'm trying to get at now? Why is it that us as adults, excluding time in our lives outside of the screen, that when these things happen to these kids, nobody says anything about it? When we have these things going around and these people we need to be aware about, nobody says anything. Why are we being so quiet and complicit? I don't know what other word to use. I was going to say assimilating, but that can mean several different things. Why are we like that? We need to speak up more about things when they get serious. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about before what all this means for me is the treatment of content creators. Specifically, Ancient. And Zinni even, if I can say that. I don't know. It's just like, now granted, I used to hate Ancient for a little bit. And some of us, as content creators, we've done some stuff we might not necessarily be proud of in the past. Let's say if we said something we shouldn't have said. Or maybe raised our tone a little too much. I have things that I wish I didn't necessarily do in the past. But that's the part of growing. You understand the consequences of your actions as an adult or even as a rising adult and take the initiative to make sure that does not happen again. That is what maturity is. Learning for life and continuing to grow for life. I am an advocate for good morals, respect, honesty, transparency when we can have it, and maturity. But some of these people will just say stuff to CCs for absolutely no reason. Zinni getting shade for literally anything and everything for no reason in the past. And with Ancient, just people hating Ancient just because he's Ancient. I think it's just because he's a more, brutally honest male YouTubers be like. But, specifically when it comes to, 3 days ago. When he did the stream, it was 1 a.m. my time. We share the same time zone. It was 1:29 a.m. my time. And I had woke up 7 a.m. that same morning to be told by some friends of mine that the Daybreak Solstice situation and Marzi being a girl and all of that. And after that, people were getting on Ancient's ass, apparently in the Solstice server, for his tone and for being quote-unquote giddy, which prompted him to make a follow-up video to that explaining those types of things. Even though it was fairly obvious if you were a subscriber of his or something at the time, that the stuff that happened prior to Marzi's incident and why he was acting the way he was. I feel like, and let me say this, I'm not putting us as CCs on any higher standard. The only reason why I mention us so many times is because for a game that doesn't want to get popular, we do everything to spread info about this game because we like it. We wouldn't be making content on it if we didn't like it and didn't want to share it to other people. But the responses we get and the comments we get, casual internet shit, but specifically with some people from the fandom, it's just disrespectful. Ancient might have done some shit, but if you don't look at his stuff and talk to him on a decent basis, you wouldn't understand like the shit he's thinking. You know what I mean? And I just feel like there needs to be more like treat people how you want to be treated. Like, I don't talk to y'all like I'm aggressive, aside from now, because again, bottle lip issues. I don't talk to y'all like y'all are under me. I talk to y'all like you are sitting beside me with me, because that's what YouTubers do. They communicate and they try to entertain you. So why the hostility? And then the last thing I want to say is, what does that mean for me? I have made 85 plus Daybreak videos in the past 4 years. And these are all things I have felt in those past 4 years. For right now, I think what's going to happen until I see genuine improvement, or if Roblox just goes down the drain, I'm going to, if I end up arising a character and I think it's worthy enough to post or whatever, I'll do that. But aside from that, I'm probably not even going to upload Daybreak content like that no more. Number one, because of college, which y'all don't really show up for my other videos outside of Daybreak, so y'all probably wouldn't even know that. Minimum shade. That's just algorithm being algorithm. I can't blame y'all for that. But other reason being, when you're a content creator and stuff happens in around the game that you play or primarily make content on, you have to be mentally aware of those things, because that could stain your brand just for being somewhat affiliated with it. Not affiliated with it in the sense that you are a developer or like you are officially recognized by the developers, but more in a sense that you have such a voice in that community that when something happens to it, you're impacted too because you have a voice. When you speak up loud, people speak louder. That's the best way to say it. And so if I am a Daybreak content creator, and within the past 3 days, all I've heard is the Marzi situation, and then a random TikTok I was sent about somebody calling out a Daybreak visual novel thing that was talking about, trigger warning, SA, grape juice, and abuse in a Daybreak fanmade visual novel? Like, what? Are we rancid? I'm going to take those things into consideration, because that is going to impact, for lack of better terms, my brand as a content creator and my longevity as an editor and an artist. Because when negative things will always normally be louder than the positives. That is a whole reason why I'm making this, is that the negatives are getting way too loud compared to the positives of the Daybreak community and fandom. Mostly the fandom. But when those negatives get super loud, that impacts my brand, your favorite Daybreak CCs brand. That impacts the developers, even though they're not affiliated with that type of drama or allegation. Saying those separately, they're not mutually exclusive. Others are serious, others are speculative. And all that other junk. So I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to risk it. Y'all may see me make videos on my art, funhouse, and stuff like that. So if you want to support me, I have so many playlists, not only on my playlist page, but on my homepage, that you can go and look at some of my stuff I spent hours working on when I had a monthly schedule, and will only spend more hours working on when I go monthly again and when I'm editing for Loki. Otherwise, you are not going to hear me with Daybreak stuff anymore until some of this stuff changes. So, what is a TLDR? The community and mostly the fandom need to do a better job of having accountability, having awareness, and protecting these children. And they need to calm down the hostility. Again, this is a general statement. This does not apply to everyone. I just mean this as a consensus. Because the amount of stuff I've heard from people playing the game, people in servers related to the game, fandom servers, all that stuff, who have had a negative experience with Daybreak, both as a concurrent player and someone who played the game for the first time, is ridiculous. The amount of children being impacted this day and age who have never taken an SCT, don't even know how to drive, probably haven't even hit puberty yet, mind you, being impacted by these demons is ridiculous. The amount of people who pour their love and passion and will to push content for you of this game, including myself, who have been told slurs, harassed, on separate platforms, and all this stuff is ridiculous. Even the treatment towards the developer sometimes is a little ridiculous. Now, granted, sometimes it's deserved, like for gameplay, other times it's just completely unwarranted. Daybreak community, you need to do better. You need to be louder. You need to be better. I'm sick of this. I don't want any more children to be impacted by these dumb-ass adults. I don't want any more children to have to be victims of these fucking groomers. I don't want any more new players to have to be irritated with other people because they are not patient enough to deal with those who do not have that many hours in the game. I do not want any more people to be turned off of playing a certain character or playing the game because someone feels so strongly about a character or a person's kit and refuses to share or give information. I'm sick of it all. I've bottled this up for 4 fucking years. I've bottled this up since I was 15. I'm about to turn 20 in like 5 to 6 months. Are you fucking kidding me? It is actually so pathetic how close-minded this community can be sometimes. And I understand that my tone may be brash, but it was a lot brasher in the past 5 attempts I've made to say this. Do better. Protect each other. Be there for each other. Protect these children. Use reports. Use the report form. Do better. Those are my grievances. This community is shattered. I made the joke that Daybreak youth will never be happy. At this rate, they never fucking will. Thank you. Again, everything I said, keep those disclaimers in the beginning in mind. I also just want to say I apologize for my tone. I get passionate about these things, but I try to be as collective and neutral as I can. I apologize if some spots sounded kind of back and forth and vague. I have no script for this because the best way I can articulate what I want to say is just verbatim. Love y'all. Despite the things I say, stay creative. Please, I implore you to have digital and media literacy and respect. And please protect yourselves out there on the internet. It is a very scary place right now. And this on top of it is not, it's not the way. Thank you.